We move on to the next meeting?
Yes, by all means.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the Sound Toll Bridge from Finance Committee. The time slot is now 8:15 on the 15th, and we are called. Yes, we are called, and we'll take it from there. First of all, apologies for answers received. I certainly know the one from Councillor Angerson, and I think Councillor D. Carter. Councillor P. Carter said he was likely to be late, but that was for your meeting, so I don't know what the situation is there. Okay, moving on. Any declarations of disposal of pecuniary interest from members with respect to the business to be transacted? No? Thank you. Then turning to the minutes of the Finance Committee on the 17th of September. They're being issued, and there's a number of marks on it of things that will be taken forward. Some of them are coming up in this meeting today. Are there any questions? Any person wish to raise any queries about that? No?
Propose to accept those minutes.
Second then. All in favour? You weren't there. Okay. Right. That's fine. I'll need to sign them. I'll bring it in for you. Okay. The next item is the updated action log, which is attachment 3B. We've got another multicoloured spreadsheet, as well as a multicoloured swap shot. Any particular questions arising from the action log? No?
Sorry, there was 7B1, which was just an update, giving an update on the wall insulation,
We
which is basically,
are we come that under item 7B later on?
oh sorry, yeah, I thought I was on mine now, so.
Chair, sorry, just what the last one on the action log, obviously we've just agreed it, Finance Committee and Toby's one have now agreed that can be removed.
Yeah.
Which one is that, sorry?
The last one about the sanctum,
Yeah, 9/25/11.
the last one on the list.
Okay. Right. Proposal to move on? Accept them?
Proposal to close that action and accept the action order.
Accept it. All in favour?
Who's proposing that?
I propose.
And I'll second it.
Great.
Yes, sorry.
Right, unanimous. Next item is public participation. I'm not being made aware that anybody is seeking to attend. So, moving on. This is where we start getting, I think, some issues about what papers we have and what we haven't got. First of all, attachment 5A, sandwich toll bridge from Guildhall payment schedules to end of September. Any queries, questions about that? No? Propose acceptance?
Yeah, I'll propose accepting those.
Thank you. Unanimous. 5B, which is the sandwich toll bridge fund payment schedules for end of September. One major item, which is the fire alarm system. Any other questions? Propose acceptance? Second, Peter? Did Councillor Greenwald?
Yeah.
All in favour? The item 5C to approve sandwich toll bridge fund museum payment schedules for end of September. Anyone wish to question, discuss this at all? Propose acceptance. Second. Councillor Wiles, and all in favour? Right. 5D is not available. 5E, the sum total fund bank account reconciled statement. Anyone have any queries and questions about that? Propose.
Second.
All in favour? The ayes have it today. Right. Next one is F. Tollbridge Fund Museum bank account reconciled statement. I've got only one query which I'll raise with the museum manager, which is the amount of money. We seem to be spending quite a bit of money with Ancestry for some reason, and I'm not aware of the reason for that. But there we go. So, any further questions about that?
No.
Proposed?
Second.
Thank you. Right, then the other items are not available. Now we move to item 5J, which is the regular Quilter Cheviot report, which we can look at, but then it might be better to consider the report from the IFO in detail about Quilter Cheviot. Although I have to say, looking at their year-to-date performances, they're not doing quite as bad as they have done in the past, but they're still a little bit below what their comparators are. If the year-to-date performance is 10.5%, which is not to be sneezed at, but you can still look for better than that. Any propose we just note it and move on?
Second.
Okay. Right. Catchment 6. Now this is where we've got quite a few items missing. With 6A, budget variance report for Tollbridge Fund for year to date. I need to talk that through in detail with the IFO. Similarly, 6B is not available, and 6C, budget variance report for STBF Museum for the year to date. I'll take those three together unless anyone has any questions. Propose we note them.
Which ones are inside?
A and C. 6A and C.
So I have got a comment and
On
on 6A. In the
Yeah.
great scheme of things, it's a small amount, but I just wanted clarification about staffing. Line 1050, staffing, parking and mileage, of which £400 was spent. It's just clarification of that. I'm not, is it purchase of parking permits? Presume it is. I'll tell you what, I'll take it offline and I'll do it.
well, a little bit directing, there's a similar item in the museum one as well, with parking, but I wondered a little bit about that. I was going to take that offline with the IFO.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Councillor Wells,
Sorry.
could you take a note that I'll take that offline with.
Which one is it?
This is parking, this is
6A.
both in 6A and in 6C, with issues about parking and permits and answers.
So the chair will raise with IFO.
Yes.
Clarification.
Clarification. Okay. Right,
So sorry, 6A and 6C are both
they have similar items.
agreed. Who's
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so, I'm proposing that we note,
Okay,
all in favour?
IB, Arch second. All agree?
Right,
Okay. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
then. Attachment 7A. Action log update from the clerk.
Sorry, can I just to go back, just to make sure we're bang on. So we've been asked to receive and approve those reports. It's not to know.
Not, no, so my
So
apologies,
receive and approve.
we receive and approve the
So
sorry.
I'm happy to vote again with the same people proposing and accepting. Second week.
Second. Right, my apologies,
Councillor Murray.
I'm trying to move.
Okay.
Sorry. The next one is terms of reference, there's an action log, attachment 7. So 7A, report on the clerk, the Quilter Cheviot, that will be discussed later on. The not had a meeting yet with Anton Edge to discuss what the problems are with the software. There's been difficulty getting this meeting set up, and I will be pressing the IFO and town clerk to get this meeting set up because it's becoming a bit unacceptable, should we say. And then budget reform I had presumed has been, as I know has been forwarded to all councillors.
Yeah.
And I would ask anyone who items, can you please return them? I've returned mine, but we've only got about 12 items so far.
I think the drawbridge has been raised on
Closed
that,
today.
so.
Well, that's up to,
mention the bridge.
this other was a footbridge, not a drawbridge we were looking for.
Too many bridges.
A guillotine as well. Oh, right, okay. So, members asked to receive this report. Seconded, Councillor Pennington. Right, all in favour? Right. Next we have 7B, which is action log update on following. This is wool insulation. This, I know I raised this one about
You
moths, didn't I?
Yes, yeah, so I carried out research, spoke with companies, and although they can treat the wool, there's no guarantees that it's not going to be of interest to moths. So I would say we will not be using wool up in the old part of the building. It's too much of a risk.
I think that's very.
And the expense is about 10 times more than your other installation. So
Okay,
Why
I
we
know
doing
English Heritage are very wary of this because there are so many problems.
I mean, to be honest, I think even with the insurance for the items in the museum would be a problem. So I've just stopped it, and then we can write that one, take that off, please, the action log.
Thank you. We're asked to note the report. I'll propose noting of that. Councillor Wild seconding.
Agreed.
Right. And the next one I've got is. This is where the numbering suddenly stops. I think I've got. Yeah, the numbering has stopped.
Next one, 7B from the,
We've done that. We've just done that one, Councillor Marie. That was the insulation. It's
The next one I've got is the property report about the
Empire.
programme expenditure and assets from
Yeah.
Julian here.
7B2.
It's notes on the Empire Cinema.
right.
So 7B2 is the expenditure. So again, we've got the columns, and the rows with the different colours. But I've also put some more notes about the Empire Cinema. So it's combined. So the expenditure programme, I'm looking for 2026, 2027, which is go through the different properties. But the Empire Cinema is sort of very much live at the moment as far as things are progressing. The chair and I had a meeting today there. Should we just go through the list of the properties and then I'm taking any questions and I can update you on the Empire Cinema?
Any questions from?
Could you confirm in terms of both the Empire Cinema and St Peter's and the White Windmill that most of these items are the responsibility of the lessee?
So if we go through the list on here,
Yeah.
so the red would be is compliance driven. So the red would be a heating system to improve the EPC would be STBF. The installation improvement would be, the electrical would be responsible, but it's only a contingency because the electrical system was checked a couple of years ago and is currently fine. I've put 5,000 for legal fees in the Empire Cinema, just in the budget. Enhancements is a different program which I will put forward for the. It's a separate thing altogether. So the enhancement would be if we were going to do a remodelling of the ground floor at the Empire Cinema, making the improvements that have sort of been discussed in the past. But any improvements on an enhancement, so if you've got property assets and you're looking to put money that are rented, and you're looking to put money into enhance it, it can only be subject to a rent review, being able to get obviously the investment money back. So if typically you'll be looking at 15% extra on top. So if you invest in 30 or £4,500 rent increase. So if you use that as a guide, so you're investing in the property, but investing in areas that will enhance it, will enhance the rental. there. But as I say, at the moment, the Empire Cinema, there's a lot happening, and I'd like to do a detailed report for the next meeting, to be able to present that in a clearer light. I got here land at the rear, so the former car park. I mean, this is something that we've got to get on to very quickly. I certainly have, because the lease is up in January.
Yep.
So that should be priority now above anything else that's being discussed. I'll be honest. I mean, that is so important. Now I put legal fees of £5,000 because we said we could well be entering into a new lease with the existing. It could be a new service provider there. So, but it's something that's really need to act on it very quickly. A comment I would make about the car park. Do you know it's receive a rental from DDC, which is based on a calculation. It's not a set price, but based on a calculation. I'm not even sure what it's a year in arrears. So I think any new proposal would have to reflect an annual fee that's paid in quarterly in advance. That's what would be suggested.
Can I just say, this is a major concern because the interim RFO isn't able to close the accounts for the toll bridge for last year because they're awaiting a major payment for the car park from Dover District Council.
Do you know how much is being pursued and whether it's just Dover?
It's something in the order of £30,000.
Yeah.
So could I ask, has that been raised concern? Have we had no traction?
I've raised a concern with the town clerk who's made several attempts to contact the people at
Could you
DDC.
give me a noddy guide in terms of the issues? I'm meeting with the leader of DDC on this Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it's too important
Oh yeah.
for me not to raise it. So
Yes.
there's an opportunity there.
Yeah. Shall I send you an email in the morning?
Is this all part of the same thing that they're going to be suggesting? They're so busy with looking at reorganisation that they haven't got.
Well, they're not talking to us, so
Well, I know they're not talking to us,
I don't know what
but
the
that's-
reasons are. It could well be that, but they're not conversing.
They don't even talk to themselves, let alone anybody else. They don't talk to themselves, let alone anybody else.
Well,
We need to have it,
that's up to them.
clarify it anyway for, obviously the lease is coming up, but there's also the devolution is coming up, so we need to talk about what we're going to do in the long run regarding the lease in the car park.
Because the lease will move to the unitary council.
Yeah.
That would be If we didn't renew with DDC, if we renewed with DDC, the next person could then be the tenant. We own the freehold and we lease it to DTC. So it's whether DTC with the new person then would become our tenant, not DDC.
But presumably, if there's a legal agreement for the lease which is up to date, then it'll roll over.
It will do.
That runs out in January, and DDC won't be anywhere, with that in
It's 2
January.
years.
So we have to deal with what we've got
Yes.
now. And so the question is whether we look to two routes pursuing, carry on with DDC, but on better terms for us, where we get different payment terms based on a set amount, or whether we go to another provider.
Logistically, that would be interesting, having two different car park providers on side by side.
It
That's happened, it happens in
happens
Thanet
a lot.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
Thanet's got a few.
It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon.
So are you investigating other options?
I will need to start.
Well, could you please do so?
Yeah, we'll do.
And when do you think you might be able to come back to us?
Well, when is the next
You're gonna
Sorry,
say 19th November,
I will have a report for that.
if you could please.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it working very well, but there we go. If Thanet does it, well,
So Thanet does it, so there's a few, especially in Margate, so Dreamland Car Park used to be owned by Thanet District Council, and then Dreamland themselves bought it out, so they now own that car park and they provide it. Also the top part by the old library, there's a coach parking area, that's owned by a private company, but Thanet own the land.
So this is what my concern was, having one piece of land which is managed by, bits of it managed by one company, bits managed by another company. It's a straight thing, it's different if the whole of the Dreamland car park is managed by one organisation, that's fine. It's when you get two organisations, and I've seen a shambles occasionally in Wales with some of these items as well.
Yeah, see, so I think the way it works with us is the fact that DDC have got the car park, they deal with it, they get on with it, and they just pay us a certain amount of money when they want to. If we've got a private company in to do that, then they'd run it for us, but then we'd have to say so of what we can do as well, because we are basically
You don't own the whole
to them.
property.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They have two properties.
The
And
car
I had
park's
a
off.
discussion at this stage.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Okay, moving on. St Peter Hall and a
Yeah, so I'm going to organise a meeting for Councillor Black and the town clerk to go to the property to meet the tenant. He's been in to see me. We need to go, and then I will report back. First of all, it does need an EPC to be completed, and then we will be able to gauge, get some more information. It does need some work in there. And so I've been talking with the tenant, and it's time now for a meeting, which will be taking place, say, next week. I'll be arranging that.
What's the terms of that lease? When is it up?
That one actually was never renewed. It was
No.
one that had lapsed, and so, but the terms of the existing lease are there, but it has protection. And but I will do a full report once we've had the meeting. Or I have gone through this property before, but I'll do a full report with all the details.
because there's some substantial items for the tenant.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there is. I mean, the flat roof needs to be replaced. It's an ongoing issue, and it's got worse. He's had someone that's had a look at it.
Right.
But over the last couple of years, the regulations have changed. You can't just go and replace your flat roof. You've now got to have it's a building. You've got to meet building regulations. You've got to start putting insulation in. It's subject to a building regulations application. So there's a lot of work involved.
Okay, so there's
It's
a site,
another Empire Cinema.
you're trying to organise a site meeting which involves
With
Mr.
us, yes.
Clark and myself
It
and
is.
yourself.
For next week, yeah.
You better let me know what dates.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
Okay.
He's away at the moment, but so we're going to look towards that part next week.
White Mill? Any questions about White Mill?
The White Mill, I promise I put it on here, but and the only thing is, I mean, there is some. We may have to have we haven't got an EPC on the property, so I think we should have. Some areas probably exempt anyway, but where the visitor area is, perhaps they'd look at that. But I will have that report done. But they've been looking after someone else said earlier. They've been looking after it. I mean, it's absolutely immaculate, and it's a template of what something should be like. Now we would be responsible for the electrical work. I'm sure the electrical work is fine. We do need to get an electrical report there, which I will organise. That's our responsibility to get an electrical report. But I don't have any concerns. But it's just formality that we must do that.
Okay. And the Guildhall Expenditure programme we've talked about.
Yeah.
We really need to have a further discussion whether some clarity as to is it 50-50, is it some other percentage, and the legal basis of that. Okay. Anything else under the property report?
Yeah, I was just going to say that obviously within the mix is whether the trustee awards grants to the community. I think this just again demonstrates how the trustee has not operated properly in terms of managing its assets, which if you look at the constitution for the charity, his assets are first and then what's left is then
Yes.
awarded as grants. There's some 120,000 potential costs here to the charity. Just flag them out, because again we'll have to decide about grants and awards next year. The assets have to come first.
Yes, well that's the constitution.
Yeah.
And that's all. Right.
Plus with all these other expenditures, we're looking more probably 250. you know, the trustees are gonna have to make some tough decisions about,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know, balancing the books.
I mean, I think the
and what's
strategy is looking at the properties. Obviously, one of the properties will need to be sold, and that will then fund the updates on that one. You just can't keep the property stock and continue in this limit. So there will be decisions that will be made, need to be made.
It highlights as well, we've been talking about this for a long time, we need a
Yes.
proper asset management strategy.
Which
sets out
will be to do with the
expenditure and
strategy.
income over a 5 or 10 year period.
Yeah. And also then, but at the same time, looking at what assets could be disposed of to then be able to fund.
I'll give you 2 straight away, personally.
Well, let's not go.
Well,
Yes.
let's not discuss
Once
just-
again, for all the family, that.
Let's not discuss that at the moment. We
So-
know we've got some issues. So
Shall
really what
these-
we're asked,
These are noted, would you?
we note it and
Future work. I'll second that.
And then the third item is the 7C, which is a report from the IFO, that's right. It's got to say IR, interim. Is it
Responsible finance.
I thought it was interim finance officer. We're not consistent. Sometimes
We're not.
IFO, sometimes.
that's very
So therefore I use the word IFO. On the scale of things, I'm not. So we've got 3 reports from Quilter Cheviot about the partial exemption and future presentation of the accounts. So it is purely to note and the report on the profitability, which we are still outstanding, and interest-bearing accounts. So these will be presented by the end of October 25.
Both noting.
Noting.
I have one comment on in the paragraph under future presentations of the accounts. It says the IRFO will discuss with councils Green and Wiles.
Yes.
Wiles
Um,
should be
yeah,
black.
should be black. Well, we'll talk to anybody.
So could that be amended?
Brown and black, sounds like chocolates.
Black is black. Okay. So noted.
Noted?
Seconded. All in favour?
Yeah.
Moving on. The partial exemption. This potentially is quite a difficult one because clearly legal advice was taken in 2021, which said one thing. We now seem to be getting some backtracking by the same advisors. And really, I think the recommendation he has got is to continue these discussions and explore it with PSTAX and to see what their final views are. And until then, it's a bit daft to comment because this is getting some realms of significant complication. I would just say we note this report and ask for progress to be made as quickly as possible and the report to come back to this committee possibly by the next meeting, or is that likely to be too short?
I think giving the budgetary process and
Is the
everything
priority.
probably too.
Okay. So in 2 meetings from now then?
Yeah.
All right.
Happy to second that.
Okay. Good. Next item 9 is report on Quilter Cheviot. The report, I think, I'm glad that he's actually been able to pull these kind of statistics out because it shows that in many ways we have perhaps been looking on the very negative side, but that's very difficult if you're only looking at a monthly side. When you look at the annual side, both for the whole year and over a 3 and 5 year program, the Quilter Cheviot results compared to other significant providers are pretty well in line. Are there any points, any questions we want to make? Yes.
So my observation would be the criteria for selecting the other comparators. So you can pick any and show good or poor performance. So I agree with what you say. I mean, it actually shows Quilter Cheviot are doing reasonably well.
Yes.
They're either in the middle or upper in terms of performance. What isn't included is Harris All Day,
No.
and that would be quite a good one to include, possibly, maybe. But it takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails in terms of the sense that Quilter are way below the wider market. That's just my observation.
I understand that point, but looking at some of the other names, you've got Schroders and Casanova, you've got BlackRock,
Yeah.
and some other names that I have come across. So they're not, I don't know how they've how he's asked the question, but he has asked the question, and certainly in comparison to some of these names which are fairly well known.
Yeah.
And they're not performing as badly as we had thought.
No, and he has selected ones that are charity-based funds,
Yes.
or funds for charity, so that, you know.
And certainly I know Schroders and Casanova have got quite a business in charities and smaller charities. They've done some research and trying to see who else might be.
Can I just say, it's not possible to compare it against Harris All Day, because Harris All Day is an investment portfolio spread across shares, where this is a specific fund.
Yeah.
And what would be useful to see against it is the FTSE 100, because we all kind of look at these individual things, but the FTSE 100. But nevertheless, when I've been looking at Quilter Cheviot's performance for the Toll Bridge Fund over the years, you know, it is, when you look at the overall performance, i.e. the dividends plus the growth in the share prices to give the overall yield, you know, they have been kind of like over 7% over the last 10 years, but over the last 3 years that's dipped down to 5.7%, and that's kind of the query really.
Okay. Are we content just to note this? Did you want to add a caveat to that?
I just wonder, how does that feature in the work that you've done separately?
The work we've done separately, which we're not able to discuss today, because
No.
it doesn't appear on the agenda,
Yeah.
it doesn't contradict it, because what some of our concern has been is how do they compare? And we've got at least one possible source. I've now got a second possible source that we could actually ask someone who's involved in the market to say, let's look at these figures, how do they compare to others? Now they would probably presumably have access to indices, because all investment organisations buy these indices from various companies, and we could then look at it in much greater detail and try to refine what it is. The difficulty you've got if you just compare it to FTSE is that, of course, that assumes all your investments are in the UK. If they're spread everywhere, at the moment the US market is not doing very well, the FTSE is doing well. It depends on the balance, how much you've also got in gilts and so on. So it really would be looking in much greater detail of what risk profile do you really want and what other restrictions do you want on investment. So it doesn't contradict it. What it does do is give us some information to say it's not quite as bad as has been portrayed. That does not mean to say we are necessarily satisfied. Is that?
Good summary.
Okay. Right. So any further points people would like to raise about this? Then I propose we note this report and the now I don't seem to have attachment 10 for some reason. This doesn't seem to have appeared in my pack. Have you got attachment 10?
Attachment 10 is the same attachment as what it was in the STC, sorry, thing. It's just about making people aware of the pro formas and stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Reid. Well, fair enough.
So recommendations, all clerks request all councillors complete this work if they wish their projects to be considered for the next council year.
Yes.
Now,
The drawbridge you said was up.
whatever.
Whatever.
I can mix them
And the
before.
guillotine was down.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right, so
Received and noted.
we've noted that, on the vote of that right. And I'm afraid I must apologise that the last item here, which is date and time of the next meeting, should of course be the 19th of November, not the 15th of October.
Noted.
Now, that closes this meeting. Thank you. The time is now 7 minutes to 9. I believe we now revert back to the next meeting, I suppose,